It's trying to connect.
It's trying to connect.
That's on. That's the YouTube field. Whoever on the table there. our Board of Trustees meeting for Wednesday. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We did a good job of that.
Well, welcome. We have a very large crowd here tonight for our meeting. It's great to see you all here. I'm sure you all are very passionate about their libraries. We have 5 of our members here from our board, and 2 are missing, but they are here by phone. So we're going to go around and introduce ourselves. Mr. Black.
Hal Blanton, Packwood, Lewis County Commissioner.
Brian Zilster, Lewis County.
Brenda Hershey, Mason County. Corby, Barber County.
Bob Hall, Pacific County.
Joe or Jenna.
Devin Hall, Thurston County.
Joe Wheeler, Thurston County.
All right, thank you. Number 3 on our agenda, approval agenda. Is there a motion?
I'd like to amend the tentative agenda to, after correspondence, have board comments, followed by public comments, followed by 12A facility committee report, and the others would stay in the order as presented.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Okay, motion approved. Okay, number 4, correspondence. Cheryl.
Yes, you've received a packet of emails and letters from patrons about Mountain View, South Bend, and Ocean Park libraries. We've received 8. We will be sending you those that we received today and in coming days. Make is that I also had an opportunity to speak with Margaret King from Randall yesterday. Margaret called me, and she shares the heartbeat of the community and truly valued.
I also received correspondence right now from Montesano, several trainings.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to board comments. Al, you
Sorry. First of all, it's no big mystery that we had a line and intentional last week, and appreciate it. And just a couple of my comments on it is that I really want to commend our community, and I'm going to say community that I understand from Morton to Glenoma to Randall and to Packwood that showed up at Fire Hall, and it was an intense meeting, to say the least. At the same time, I want to commend ourselves because not only we were there, but we were there positively and trying to affect change. You told us what a lot of us already knew about our
Was at Mountain View. Recently, on Monday, I attended the South Bend City Council meeting. The change standing room only and people in the hallway. I again heard public comment on the value, the love, the need for the South Bend Library. I'm glad to hear so much love for the libraries. After having been presented with the Reimagined Library document and hearing the patrons of those 2 places, I was struck by a thought. Everybody who has a library loves and wants to keep it. The Reimagined Library attempted to address the areas without a hub, sort of like haves and have-nots. Just my wife wanted to share one thing. She volunteers at the South Bend Pacific County Museum and Visitor Centers on Tuesdays. And yesterday a guy came in, just released from jail, which often happens there at the Visitor Center. And normally they go to the library, but the South Bend Library is closed. But eventually he found a kind individual who offered to transport him back to Ocean Park. I would like to see the board received in October or November projections in FTE reductions by attrition retirements and the guesstimate of the cost savings. Also, a similar look at savings by the adjusted courier routes. Another thing, things on Facebook can be accurate or not accurate. I have read a number of false items on Facebook relative to the libraries. I would like the Facilities Committee to consider the fate of South Bend. There has been a proposed consolidation with the status of the building. The Facility Committee needs to take a look at what the fate of South Bend will be. Finally, thank you for everyone who wrote, TRL and the board. Today, like several people mentioned, we received, well, so far we've received 61 pages of comments from adults and kids, and all of them were very moving.
Thank you, Bob. Jenna, do you have anything?
Yeah, I just want to say, so I didn't get to watch or be at the Randall meeting, but I have read all of the correspondence, and it has been very helpful for me to see just how much people love their library and what it means to them, and what the community wants. It seems like really is to keep that library open, obviously. But I just want to remind people that this is just a proposal. The board just learned all the details of this potential plan. Nothing is set in stone. So there is still opportunity for communities to comment. I know that a lot of the people in Randall said that this was done behind closed doors. I just want to say the doors were also kind of closed to the board. I didn't know, that that library was, the lease was expired. I didn't even know that, a week or two ago. So it was, some of the things were as much of a surprise to the board as they were to the community, and no decisions have been made yet, and nothing is in stone. So I just want to thank the community for really turning out for that, and let them know their correspondence has been really helpful for me as a board member.
Thank you, Jenna. Joe, do you have anything? Joe, you there? Okay. I guess we must have lost him. Okay.
I'm here.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Do you have anything, Joe?
Well, I've been given instructions to put it on mute so people didn't hear me, creaking my chair and moving around the room as I listened. So I put it on mute. So when you asked me to speak, I started talking away. So what I want the attendants in the meeting tonight, the attendees, to know that libraries have been an incredibly important part of my life, for my entire life. And I have grown up and spent large chunks of my life in very small towns that have had the luxury of having libraries. I tell the group, I am a huge supporter of the Amanda Park Library, which is probably the tiniest library in the city. And I realize the importance of making library facilities available to all the citizens of the 5 counties. And so, like fellow trustees have indicated, no decision here will be made off the cuff. It will be after a lot of deliberation, consideration, and an effort to do what's best for the members of all 5 counties. I also want to compliment the administrative team and the executive team of the Timberland Library. This is a preliminary step, but I see a true vision here by that team to try to take our library into the future, to protect the resources that we have, to encourage and increase available information and sources to all the members of the 5 counties. So that's my comment.
Okay, thank you, Joe. All right, we are moving into the area of our agenda. And per RCW 42.30, government does not have to provide a public comment period, but we are allowing this as a courtesy tonight. Only the people who have signed up will speak, and they will each be limited to 3 minutes. This is an opportunity to provide your statement to the Board of Trustees, and we will not engage any back and forth dialogue. We're going to try to limit this comment period to 1 hour. If it ends up going over an hour, so be it, but we're hoping we can finish up in an hour. But we have many people signed up to speak, so one thing I have to be very respectful of not only each person who speaks from the public, but also in the audience, and let's try to be not only respectful, but not be disruptive. Let's give each person a chance to speak peacefully and not be interrupted. Okay, that said, we have a long list of names here of people signed up, so we're going to get right to it. We're going to start off with, I think, Lisa Gleb from Ocean Park. And I asked each person who signed up to speak to come up here. We have a blue access tape here on the floor. This will allow you to be seen on our...
Everyone, my name is Lisa Gleb. Thank you for allowing me to be here to speak. I am here in support of everyone else's, but for a reason, I have recently submitted an offer to purchase the auditorium lot next to the Ocean Park Library. Sorry. I am a resident of Ocean Park, and I'm here to request that the board respectfully consider my offer to purchase a piece of property that's for sale in Ocean Park, the Timberland Regional Library. The property previously belonged to my grandmother, who was a charter member of the board of directors of this library, of the library board. So the property, still call it grandma. And I recently retired down here and I've been looking for property and walked by and saw the sign on grandma's property. So I'm putting in an offer and earlier this month, and I've been anxiously waiting to speak to the board. I didn't realize I'd be speaking to so many members of the community. It's a little nerve-wracking. So that's what I'm here, just to introduce myself to the board. I did want to say one thing too, since everyone is here. I know there's been some concerns registered about the auditorium tree or the kissing tree, and which is, I believe, on that property, if I've looked at the survey correctly. And if the board will accept my offer, I have no plans to do anything other than leave the tree as is. I'm a little concerned about liability of public people being on a piece of private property, but I have no plans to make any changes to that tree. I actually live in the house on the other end, or son. So I just wanted to use the time to address that to the community as well. So, thank you very much.
Okay, next up we have Kate O'Neill from
Jenna, can you guys mute?
Is there any way that we could get the speakers closer to the phone? Seems like there's a lot of background noise or something happening.
Yeah, do you guys have your phones on mute?
Hello?
Do you guys have your phones on mute?
I'm not on mute right now. I've been on mute, but I hear some like music or something. I don't know what it is.
I hear it too.
You can turn it down.
I'm Kate O'Neill, and just a few days ago, our library was closed without any reason, I believe. They say there's an L&I report that they're supposed to be coming up with at some point. Well, if there has a report saying that there's, I'd like to know why the library is closed. A lot of us use it almost daily for many, many reasons. And so at the meeting, refer to notes, this is scary. I hate this. But I'd like to know why before there was even a report issued. That seems very wrong. And I understand it. Randall didn't know until just recently that their lease was ending or something like that. It sounds like these kind of sneaky moves. And I'm wondering who is going to gain from this, you know? They say follow the money trail or whatever. What's going on here? This is very odd. And since democracy depends on an informed, well-educated public, it is a direct assault on democracy. And then at the South Bend City Council meeting a couple nights ago, somebody said, well, the Raymond Library is only 5 miles away. A lot of the people who use our little library are kids walking or riding their bikes. And there's no way they can cross the bridge. They could go into the Raymond area. It's ridiculous. And yes, really, tonight, the kids. And the very poor. There are people that go into the library in the winter, especially to warm up and read books. And I see nothing wrong with that. They're quiet. And so basically, I guess that's all I have to say. This is really quite a mystery. What's happening here? I know a lot of us would really like to know what's really going on.
Thank you. Have Mary Prophet from Randall.
I'm timing myself. Oh shoot, that was the wrong thing. Stop. Okay. Many of you already know me. I'm Mary Prophet. I'm the manager at the Timberland Mountain View branch. First, I want to thank everyone from East Louis County that came. This was a long drive. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here. I have worked very hard to make Mountain View a success, and I'm told by my community to do an outstanding job. During the commotion of the last month, I've continued my efforts to maintain an excellent library. You should see all the programs we have lined up for the next month, meet the needs of my patrons, and work with Timberland as it tries to balance their budget and reach. I know I'm an employee of Timberland Regional Library, so whatever the outcome, I will continue to perform to the best of my ability. However, this has not been easy for me, and I feel I need to say something now before the plans being considered become final. I'm here tonight on, there is a decision that will be made tonight. Our lease is up at the end of the next month, so there is a motion for our lease. I feel like I'm being asked to choose between the library district and the community I serve, and I don't feel this process reflects Timberland's stated values of working with people to meet their needs, being transparent, to build public trust, and developing partnerships to strengthen communities. The timing stinks. There's been no opportunity for anyone to react. I also feel the landlord somehow supported in keeping the library buildings, rural libraries need physical space. Remember, there is nothing else for the 2,000 residents of Randall. There is no other free Wi-Fi. There is no other gathering space. Seniors will have isolation if they don't have that place to come into every day. We already know our kids who don't have transportation don't have any other place to gather. 5 seconds left. A couple other people wanted me to say something coming from community members. Eventually move it to another town, and occasionally driving your mobile services unit around is certainly not better for us than is definitely. You can't uproot a library, move it to a new location, and expect the same success. The community needs the library. Timberland's intention to close Mountain View, the Randall Library Alliance formed with the sole purpose for a physical library to remain in Randall. They gathered over 500 members in the first few days. More join every day, and the public has even tried offering the group monetary donations. The Randall area deserves to be heard and considered. So I have 10 seconds left. So please consider my comments as you vote this evening and as you make your critical vote in the future. Thank you.
Okay, we have Nathan Kusalis. I can't quite read it.
Katsubas.
Okay.
Easy to pronounce.
Right here.
We have somebody on the right. We've got.
Oh, can you just hold? Okay, yeah.
I'll keep looking over there. So I'm Nathan Katsubis. I live, my family and I use both the Packwood and the Randall libraries. It's mission critical for how we raise our two girls. For our community, it's art and school. We heard that at the Randall meeting. I'm hoping that that transcript got out as well. I'm also full of White House Elementary School, and for what I do for a living, which is make America, our Randall life is absolutely critical as well. So you've heard that in Randall. I just want to reiterate that as well for folks who are new to the controversy here. I want to emphasize some things here. Can you hold that for me, please? Okay, thank you. Well, what I want to emphasize here is that the process has been terrible. That since November, there's been a task force working on this issue, and they've been developing the idea as our board member on the phone closed doors. We heard nothing about it for months. We had no time to respond. No one came and took input from us. Nobody came and talked. Nobody cared, is what it seems like. There was no outreach and there was no warning. For a stab in the back, this is pretty much, it's not the literal definition because there's no blood, but it's pretty much the metaphorical definition of a stab in the back. Just keep holding it up. Thank you. So it's been a terrible process. I want to emphasize too that community members reached out to the landlord. The landlord is willing to either extend the lease for a year, same terms. We've talked to that person ourselves. I emphasize in Randall.
I've been a member of the community in South Bend for 26 years now. We moved when I took a job there. And for that entire time, my wife and I, who was in libraries before we came there, have been heavy users of the South Bend Library. I'm familiar with the building. It's fixable. I believe that South Bend deserves its own library as well as Raymond. I realize trying to prioritize in a large 5-county system with the costs involved is difficult. It is an old building. It's a good building. It deserves to continue its function. And I hope the Timberland Library Board will see a way through to keeping a library in South Bend. And I don't want this to sound negative, but many of us have talked about alternatives. We like the service with Timberland. However, I am aware of other communities that have managed to keep a library open without being part of we will do whatever we have to accomplish.
That must be it.
There's more standing outside. Okay. So the board members, thank you for having us here. I think we've got to tell you something. You're not making yourself any friends. You're not making yourself feeling determination. We're going. And we're not going to give up on it now.
You tell them
that. I appreciate you very much. You stood up. I like that very much. You're the one board member who's really thought about the system instead of doing it. I like that. The rest of you, well, Cheryl, remember you came when you first got hired on as a librarian. You came to South Bend and you were in tears. You were so happy. And we were so happy for you. And you were so proud to be a librarian. But don't be a lackey to lawyers and flat catchers.
I really can't want those camera equipment in my house. And the other thing was, last summer, the air conditioner was fading. Smoke and part of the problem. So I noticed when I went in there for refuge, the age population was much higher than normal. All right. So, is there anything else? I covered those two, but I want to just have some suggestions to the board on this lease. They have a commercial building with a creek running right against the foundation on one side, and I don't know how the septic system's hooked up, but they can't take that building out, so if that's your concern, that's not gonna happen at that location. And they have two really steady clients right now, a second generation, well, they're not related, but two dentists in a row, at least the other half of the building, the important part. And downstairs, they're having a hard time renting it out. So I don't think they're in a position to let us go as a library. And the other thing is, if you're negotiating a new lease, they're get a lower per month rate. And they might like their building with two really steady clients in there, you know, it's not gonna hurt their ability to sell that building, right? And I really doubt a new client's gonna say, oh, we're gonna push you out of here and see if we can find a thrift store or something, you know? Anyway, that's all I have to say right now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next up we have Dixie Wood from Ocean Park.
I grew up in a large family in a rural area of Southern Oregon, and every 2 days to go to Grant's Pass to go to the library. And my brothers and sisters and I check out all the books we were allowed to. And by the end of the 2 weeks, I would have read Steve's science fiction and Jeff's Hardy Boys and my Nancy Drews, and it instilled in me a lifelong love of reading. And I admit I use the library mostly reading. And I have it my 20 holes all the time. But now when I go into our Ocean Park library, I see the children's programs and the teenagers in there on the computers and the line of books that are waiting for people to pick up, I realize again how important it is for every generation to have the kind of access that we have to our libraries, and how important it is for the children to be able to, and for us old people to be able to finish our life like that. And I just want to say how important it is that we have that available. And on the peninsula, it's 14 miles from that library to this library. There aren't a lot that have the wherewithal to lose either this library or that library.
Next up, I'd like to ask Charlotte, is it Paliani, from Ocean Park.
Well, I mainly use the Ocean Park Library, but my grandson was living with me for a while, and I must say that he grew up, because I'm really into the libraries too, walking to the Ocean Park Library and also going to this library because there were amazing programs. He learned to touch all the little bugs here in one of the science programs. At the Ocean Park one, recently, they had a science program and they had a microscope. For his 10th birthday, he changed his life. He's an advanced reader, and I think it all came from going to the library. The other thing, we mentioned some of the seniors and some of the lower income, and they don't have computers at home. So the digital services that would continue with cutting back services won't work for them. The other thing I found is we have music programs there. I'm president of the association, American Association of University Women. We have our meetings there Saturday morning. If the services were cut back even to the point of closing on a Saturday, we'd be looking for another place. It's a meeting place. It's incredible. So hopefully we will soon cut back. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, next up, somebody wrote in Kathleen. I can't make out the last name of the Sazing.
That's me, and I will give it to somebody else.
You sure? Okay. Okay.
I have in my hands the mission statement that comes from the Timberland Library, and it is a beautiful mission statement. But when I read through this mission statement, I realize that all the provisions in this mission statement, at least in my eyes and to the Randall community, were completely ignored. The one that hit us the hardest was the one that says integrity. We manage the library ethically with accountability and transparency and clear communication. That never happened. It was a leak by a pastor in one of our churches that let us know that we were going to have our library closed. Now, our library, we live in a rural community, and it's a community where half the people in that community live below the poverty level. They have very little. There is no community center. We have nothing for our children, but it's a community that has worked hard and long and pulling together to see that our elderly and our children have the services they need. We have an $18 million school that we passed a levy for, and people that didn't have enough to eat voted for that because they have responsibility to our children. There's a brand new Methodist church there that after years of mucking the mud out of the old 100-year-old church, every time it flooded, the church took a leap of faith and began to build this beautiful church. The church is free and clear of debt. There was never a penny owed against it because the entire community, all the churches, all the people that never went to church, got there with their hammers and their shovels, and we built a beautiful church. It is a community that I could live anywhere in the world, but I live there because I love the spirit of the people that come together when they all need help. But the library is the hub. We have no community center, we have nothing else. And we are very concerned for the well-being of our children, one of which we lost just recently in a brutal murder. Our children, every risk living in somewhat state of poverty. They don't recognize it because everybody helps, everybody does whatever they can. But some in our schools are in the assisted lunch program because their parents don't have the money to pay for their lunches. These children get the help they need at our library. And here we are, a community that pulls together and works together. And every time we turn around, somebody is kicking us in the back of the knees. We have lost AmeriCorps, which was a government program where college students came into the community and helped in the school. Yes, I'll be done in a minute. Anyway. Thank you. Anyway, we've talked about a mobile library. How many computers are we going to be able to put in that mobile library? And what is going to happen? We have 50 homeschool children that use that library for their class. Where are they going to go? Are they all that mobile van when it comes around? There is no way. Also, we have people that cannot afford computers, or even if they to be able to get internet. They come to the library because that we have to have that are governed by permits. We burn our debris after the winter because the brush and everything builds up, and in order to burn our debris, we have to have a permit. We need a permit to clean up our properties. We also get 1,200 pounds of garbage once a year that we can take to the local solid waste station. Permit that can only be done on the computer. Also, many of the people in our community supplement their faith with mushrooms and berries. And they have to pull a permit to do that, to go in the forest to pick them. And guess what? You can't do it anywhere else but on a computer. So, what is not your finances? What you need to look at is a community that has struggled for years, but has gotten together and fought every adversity and come out pretty much smelling like a rose because of the spirit of the people in that community. And now you're taking away the hub of the community. The only thing that we have, like a wheel. You take the hub out and the wheel no longer. You are putting our children and our elderly at risk, and there will be deaths as a result of this eventually. It won't be perhaps, it'll be when. And I beg you to take a look at this and realize that the cost in human lives and misery is not worth any budget that you might be able to satisfy by cutting out that library. And by the way, our landlords are just sitting there waiting for you to sign. They contacted you in July and got no response. So.
Okay, next up we have Don Ruby from Randall.
Cookie for residents.
Hello, I'm Donna Ruby from Randall, and this feels like taxation without record. An 88-page document outlining Timberland's library, which I saw for the first time today, has been created without the knowledge of the library patron. Describe in addition, they have had surpluses that I read off of their site. 251,000 plus in 2015, 685,000 plus in 2016, 1,063,000 plus in 2017 pluses that they stated on their website. They are projecting a shortfall. Their proposals takes away in Randall, leaving nothing in the short term to replace it. Randall has lost mills, a sheriff's substation, schools, logging, senior services, access to forest lands, jobs, and some of the things Cookie said, more. We have only one public community service building in Randall, and now they want to take that away from us too. This really hurts. Their strategic plan states that the reimagined library retains and improves core services that our communities rely on. But that will not be true for Randall. The modern library fulfills the unity that it serves and works with community partners to complete that work efficiently. To that end, they say, they will be employing a community engagement strategy. Oh, really? When? Yeah. Is this supposed to happen before they refuse to renew our lease? Their proposal states a budget has been created to ensure participation. Facilitators will present the themes that have been gleaned from the data gathered from conversations and interviews and ask for confirmation, the issues of concern and the needs expressed within the district as a whole. Doesn't that sound nice? Have they done this?
No, Donna, they didn't ask me anything.
Well, this has certainly not been done yet. However, this proposal is already on the table for approval. How can they present this proposal when the participation of the patrons has not been elicited? As stated in the proposal itself, one of the items, Mountain View Library Proposal Phase 1, consolidate with Packwood and Solcombe. In other words, close Mountain View. Combining services, staffing, and resources to provide greater outreach to more residents via mobile services. And when do those mobile services start? We're clearly library management and trustees are against us in East Louis County. Our is now meet and fulfill every part of Timberland's stated mission, and we are fulfilling the mission and vision of this library system with the services provided by our libraries as they now exist. We are feeling
feeling like in spite of our good efforts, our support, and our faithful patronage, we're being stabbed in the back. The model we have in our Randall Library is providing the very kinds of services that your new model is proposing. We're doing those things already. Now, in the library you're proposing to close.
I'm Sue Sumi. I love books by Bookmobile back when you could check out 2 books, and because of my age, I wasn't allowed to check out above the line. We got a library, I think it was 1974. Incredible service. I'm fortunate that I go between Packwood and Randall, and I can guarantee you that if anything happened and Randall's closed, that Packwood would fight for their library. What I don't want to see, in South Bend people, you are breaking my heart. I don't want library death matches. I want more libraries. When we reimagine it, let's not forget that libraries are also a place. And we all have stories of the incredible services that we've received from libraries, the adventures that we've had in books. I urge you for transparency. I urge you to work within your communities, because I can tell you, Randall is not going to go quietly into that good night.
Oh, no.
No. Neither will Packwood. I have not do it either. I get that money. I get that. It's not the most important thing. Right.
Okay, next we have, I think it's Inigo Di Martino Jr. Sorry.
Yes. Thank you. Honorable Trustee, Madam Director, interested parties and concerned citizens. I have some concerns about this. One is the dilemma at the Randall Library. And if the board doesn't make a decision at some point or another, we'll lose it, and it will, they must be involved somehow, or it will lose it to a bureaucrat, okay, not elected official, not anybody. It's not a good thing, okay, it's too much power. I have problems with the survey. I know I'm not allowed to ask questions. It may or may not have been done, but we were told after our meeting that the 10% that showed up, 10% of the population of Randall that showed up at that meeting was not represented. So hopefully the 5-county survey will be a much higher percentage so that it will be representative. And if it's already been done, because nobody contacted me through my library, at home, the mail, nothing. And perhaps it hasn't happened, but if it does, make sure it's a high enough percentage so that it is representative of the rural areas, okay? I understand this building is leased. It's probably been funded for the project, but it's a beautiful building. It's leased. My guess is it's not going to be. So kind of, I don't understand. If we can get another year at Randall, and the whole program will take some time, the community can help the Timberland library if they allow us, okay? I know in Randall, we'll do it one way or another. I don't even live in it anymore.
Okay.
The first thing that I treasured more than money was my library card. And when I moved to South Bend and I saw that Carnegie Library 17 years ago, I fell in love. And I'm still in love with it. And when I go there, now, I can't begin to tell you, the kids there, the after-school programs are fantastic.
I'm a retired clay artist, and I work with kids in school because they eliminated art classes long ago, and I work with kids in schools. The kids have fantastic after-school care. After-school educational them, they're fantastic. But not only that.
I think that was Jay or Jad Davis from South Bend, or Tad Davis.
Should have them print.
Yeah, for sure. The blue line. Hi, my name's Jan Davis. I live in South Bend for 42 years. My first job was at the Queen Anne Branch Library in Seattle, and that's what I love about library. I'm representing the city of South Bend. I'm on the city council along with Daryl, who's here. And we had a meeting on Monday night, and we were told that the L&I report was not back yet, and I'm just curious if you guys have that.
I have not received it.
You haven't gotten it? And I think I asked you on Monday night if you guys were thinking about closing the library. And evidently this document that you put out today or yesterday, you knew about on Monday, I'm guessing.
We're here for a statement, not for.
Oh, okay, sorry. I should know that. Anyway, I'm just disappointed. It sounds like South Bend is a lot like Randall. We have next to nothing. And the library is a place, it's a safe place for kids to go. It's a place to get warm. It's a place to see friendly faces. And we don't have another place like that in South Bend, except for the post office. So, anyway, we will fight. We'll do whatever we have to do to keep it. I know there's been a structural report done, and Rebecca Chafee, she said it's doable to fix the building. And I just want to put you on notice that we're going to put up a fight. Thank you.
Okay, next, Chris Thompson.
Yeah, I'm Chris Thompson, and I am from South Bend. I didn't put what I wanted to talk about or where I'm from.